it's Sophie from Build Your Jungle, and today I'm going to be talking all about the process of importing plants from Ecuagenera and give you an update on how the plants are doing at the moment. One thing you have to bear in mind when you're importing plants is that there is going to be a rehab phase, especially because these are plants coming from other countries with very different climates and conditions, and they're then coming into England with very unpredictable and often very cold conditions, although obviously not at the moment, but at the time when I ordered these, it was very cold in winter. So firstly, I'm just going to talk you a little bit through the process. The two plants I really wanted to order were Anthurium guiaquilens, which is this beautiful tone plant that looked a bit more blue on the website image than it ended up looking in person. And then I ordered Philodendron rubijuvenile El Choco Red, which is a beautiful philodendron with these famously red backs when the plant's younger, and they get really beautiful, big, pillowy, velvety dark leaves. I deliberately went for plants in two different genuses and wanted to see how they do. And I will say at this stage, I feel the philodendron has done better than the Anthurium, but I'm being patient. So once I'd chosen my plants, I just placed an order on the website. They also do live auctions and stuff, but I'm not as keen on that idea myself because I feel like if someone sees you bidding in a live auction, that's when you have a chance of being scammed. But this way, I feel like it was much safer because they've recently changed how you pay them. So you have to pay them by bank transfer. I think there might be some different methods depending what country you're in. But in the UK anyway, you have to pay them by bank transfer. And obviously at first I was a bit like, oh, I don't want to bank transfer someone in Ecuador. But it is such a well-known company in this plant community, so I thought, I'll give it a try. So I paid the thing, no problem, and then was the waiting game, because you have to wait a very long time to get your plants. I think they post orders like once a month or something, I might be wrong. One thing that's great about importing plants with Ecuagenera is that they handle all of the import costs and the Phyto Sanitary certificates for you. What that is when plant materials move into certain countries, including the UK, they have to have a phytosanitary certificate to say like they've been inspected, they don't have pests. And also to help people keep a track of what plants have moved where in case there is a problem in the future. It's very handy for the everyday planty consumer like myself to have that all handled for me. My plants arrived, I did a little unboxing. I was so very pleased with the quality of the plants, but I was trying not to get my hopes up because I knew that when it comes to importing plants, they were going to go downhill, especially when I consider how long it was in the place where I had to go pick it up, because it ended up being there for like a week, longer than I'd realised because I'd missed the delivery. Straight away when I opened it, I was blown away by the El Choco Red, but prepared to lose some leaves. And I did like the Anthurium a lot. I've been trying to get into like rarer and more unusual Anthuriums at the moment, but I did think, to be honest, like this isn't that blue, because it is the bluiness that attracted me to it in the first place. I don't know if I've just need it to recover a bit and then it'll look more blue in certain lights, or I could just be saying that and sound really stupid. So after I finished unboxing them, I had to do a little bit of import care. My main priority was just making sure that they got a good drink because they'd obviously been without water for a long time. So I hosed them down to get rid of any pests, put them in water for like a day, and then I think I put them in like a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and water just to kill any pests off that might have been on the roots. And I'm distracted because there is an aphid on my cucumber melon. After I'd let the plants dry off a bit so that the water wasn't like affecting the pest treatment, I used Provanto Ultimate Bug Killer. I actually have the fruit and vegetable one at the moment, and I will say the concentrate one. It's definitely worth getting because you get so many more uses out of it than the mixed bottle, especially if you have lots of plants, because one of those bottles won't even cover like a big collection of plants if you need to spray everything. So I sprayed it with that, and if you do this, you may want to make sure that you're not leaving lights on in that room and you're not putting the plants near grow lights when they've been sprayed because it can cause scorching on the leaves. I've heard from people before that they've been a bit underwhelmed by the condition of plant roots on plants they've got from Ecuagenera, And when I'd inspected them more closely, I totally disagreed with that statement for the Anthurium, which had great roots. But for the El Choco Red, it very much felt like it was still in a rooted propagation stage. So I stuck that in sphagnum moss and I potted up the Anthurium straight up into a chunky mix. As a few weeks passed, we had a lot of leaves yellowing, bottom leaves dropping. The Anthurium immediately tried to flower, which I saw as a sign of stress because yes, plants can flower when they're very, very happy, but they can also flower as a sign of stress. And just in the context of the situation, it seemed like it probably was just like, please don't let me die. A few weeks after that, I thought it was finally putting out a new leaf, but it was actually another inflorescence, which I chopped off, cried. I did then put out a very, very small leaf, which I laughed at about in one of my other videos. And then it's just now got a new growth point for a leaf. So as you can see, these leaves, I'll just show you, so compared to what it was like when it first arrived, this is 5 months later. The bottom leaves, like, they're still alive, they're still helping the plant produce new growth, so I'm not cutting them off or anything. They've just got some yellowing, which if you've ever seen what people's plants look when they've been, like, after they've imported them, very normal, but this is why you've got to have a lot of patience. This is just needs to come off. It's the old flower spike, and then this is the new growth point. This was the leaf that came out in my care probably about 2 months after I'd had it. As you can see, it's so small and it had some issues unfurling. In the greenhouse that this was in, I've noticed though that it was having some issues retaining humidity, so that probably has something to do with it. It's very much wanting to climb. At one point, the aerial root had fused itself to this stick, but it's come off it now. It looks like this plant really wants to produce more roots, so I'm thinking about top layering this with live sphagnum. I've noticed that this doesn't seem to need watering as much as my other anthuriums. I don't know if it's because the roots were recovering from damage, but when I unboxed this, it very much did not want to hang how I thought it would, but now that it's had time to kind of grow how it grows, this is how I thought it would be, as more of a semi-strap anthurium. I think the fact I've got a new growth point though, like, I'm so relieved. Hopefully it'll be a bigger leaf than this, and I will give another update on this plant as it grows. Either my preventative pest treatment worked or these were pest free, because I have never had any pest problems on these plants. In a way, it feels like, I can't say it's been easy because it's been declining, but like, I'm not having to do much to it. I've just got it in my high humidity greenhouse, chunky mix, watering when it gets dry down to like here. And it seems to be doing all right. It's getting really good light. It's got grow lights above it. It's nice and temperature, kind of the ideal temperature range. I'm hoping to give it something to climb, and I'm hoping that it will produce some nice new growth for me, because this could be a really lovely plant. And it's very different from my other anthuriums. I also would be really interested to try importing from Ecuagenera again in summer when it's not like super cold here, and see if that makes any difference as well. Now, this one I'm much more happy about. So originally the root situation was absolutely rubbish, but there were like 6 or 7 leaves, I think, and it only hung on to 3. And 2 of the 3 had very bad cosmetic damage. And then the other day, I was so annoyed. I went to water this plant and I lifted it up off my bottom greenhouse shelf and I caught the leaf on my grow light and it just ripped it like tissue paper, and my whole body just cringed inside. I was like, no! So that happened. However, I'm over it. I'm over it. It doesn't seem like I am, but I'm over it. And I'll tell you why. Because the leaf was already damaged, so I ain't going to be getting upset about ripping an already damaged leaf, hi Bumblebee, on, yeah. But at this point, it had a caterpillar for a new leaf, and I remember because someone from my old job came around and was like, oh, look, it's got a new leaf though, that's good. And I thought, yeah, it's going to be a really good leaf. And then it did the thing, because this was at the time when the greenhouse humidity was really low, and it just never unfilled, and it just dried, and it really annoyed me. So I had to cut it off, and I thought, it's okay, we're giving it a chance. The roots are growing really well. And I'm saying that because now this thing is like, look at these old chocolates. It's crazy. It's mega rooted, needs a repot, but I'm waiting for the new leaf to harden off, because friends, after that very dry leaf came the leaf of my El Choco dreams. Look, it's such a perfect leaf. It's like the midrib and veins seem almost neon to me. This is the leaf that I ripped on the grow light. This is the best of the original import leaves. Like, that is not bad at all. And then we've got this leaf, which only has some mild damage. But I am so happy to see on this plant, finally, after 5 long months, people, we've got a beautiful velvety El Choco leaf that's as big as my face. And I'm very happy about it. I just love this plant. I've like really wanted one for ages. And it was the one that when I was deciding, because I knew I wanted a philodendron and an anthurium because they're my 2 favourite genuses. But when I was trying to decide which philodendron, I really could not resist when I saw this. This was the medium plant as well, which is pretty big for a medium plant. I am just eager to get this climbing something on a pot. I think the leaves will size up really quickly. If anyone's ever seen wild ferns, El Choco red, it is majestic, and I want mine to be this majestic. I love the caterpillars and stuff on this plant because they're bright red. As you can see, the backs are red. They do lose the red colour on the backs as the plant gets more mature. I've also got an auxiliary bud here that seems like it's maybe activating, and there's another one here. So I'm hoping maybe it's finally fully kicking into action now that we've got all of these nice healthy roots in here. I don't think I said after the roots went crazy, I then potted it up into the mix, and it was at that point that it put out the failed leaf, and then this beauty. This is honestly like, this leaf is my houseplant highlight of this entire month. I'm obsessed. When you're looking at the prices of houseplants on the website, just bear in mind that you're then going to need to look when you're going on to checkout. Your shipping method will be where it's the expensive part, but it still works out so much cheaper than getting them in the UK. Honestly, I can't stop staring at this one at the moment, and I can't remember, but I know it was a good deal. I'm putting it on the screen, what I paid for this, because I just think that it's really beautiful. So if you are someone who can be very patient and prepared for disappointment, then I would really recommend that if you are going to import plants, Ecuagenera is a really good option. They're very trusted. A lot of industry professionals use Ecuagenera that sell plants in the UK. They are a trustworthy company. They seem really knowledgeable, and their social media I really like as well, because it's really interesting to see their mother plants, because growing stuff in Ecuador, like, that's the ideal environment for these plants, and they're just amazing and thriving. I think you've got to think about what the weather's going to be like when you're ordering, how sensitive are the plants that you're ordering. I've heard a lot of horror stories about people trying to order Queen Warwickwianum anthurium and it having really bad leaf melt and stuff. From my one experience, which I think I would have to repeat this experience multiple times to, you know, really get a feel for the overall consistency of stuff. The anthurium has struggled, but is making a comeback slowly. El Choco took some time to adjust, but is now thriving. This is a velvety type philodendron, and I find them very finicky. I don't know about anyone else compared to other philodendrons. So maybe if you're going to go for a philodendron, go for something that's a hybrid, or that's not got texture to its leaves, something with very what is the word? Oh my gosh. With like block green leaves. What am I saying? Smooth green, you know, a normal leaf. I just lost. My brain. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video talking a bit about my experience using Ecuagenera and stuff. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments and I will do my best to answer them for you. At the moment, I'm posting shorts every day and long form videos every Friday, so please subscribe if you would like to see that. And we're posting content every day on Instagram. We've got all kinds of stuff on there, plenty illustrations, educational stuff. And if you guys would like to buy some houseplant themed art prints illustrated by myself in hand, then please feel free to head over to our website. It's buildyourjungle.com, and I've got a special code on at the moment so that you can get free shipping in the UK this month, and it's free post, so if you enter that at checkout you will get free shipping. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of the day doing whatever you want to do. Hug a dog, plant a plant, eat loads of chocolate, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. Also, I just realised that I've been filming a sketch and I just filmed this whole video without my piercings in, and I just put them back in, and now I feel like everything's really weird and we're all living in the Matrix.